At 6 o'clock in the morning, Mario was sound asleep in his small house located in a little village in Mexico. He remained asleep at 7, 8, 9, and even at 10 o'clock. On most days, Mario typically woke up around 11 o'clock. After waking up, his wife would usually head to the shop to purchase tortillas and coffee for his breakfast. Mario was fortunate because Pedro, the shopkeeper, was a good friend who never asked him to pay for his meals. However, one morning, Pedro woke up feeling angry. "I wake up at 5 every morning to work," he muttered to himself, "but Mario stays in bed all morning, doing nothing. He doesn't work, and I give him free food. That's enough. If he wants any more free food, he'll have to do some work for me." Later that morning, Mario's wife entered the shop at the usual time. Pedro told Mario to inform her husband that he couldn't provide any more free food. Pedro mentioned that he was constructing an additional room beside his house. Pedro proposed that if Mario's husband helped him carry some large rocks from the quarry, then they would receive more food in return. Mario expressed his worry, saying that the rocks were too heavy for him to handle. Mario stated that if it was meant to be, God would provide without any effort. Mario believed that when God granted something, it would effortlessly appear through the window. Mario requested not to discuss work any further and suggested having a pleasant cup of fresh coffee instead. Mario got dressed and left the house. Later that morning, while Mario was happily walking up the hill and admiring the clouds in the sky, he suddenly heard people shouting from behind him. As Mario turned around, he noticed a horse rapidly approaching. A man was riding the horse and shouting, but the horse continued to gallop without slowing down. The rider repeatedly yelled, "Whoa," but the horse disregarded the command. Eventually, the horse reached Mario, who swiftly leapt and seized the reins, successfully halting the horse. The rider turned out to be an elderly man with long, white hair. He dismounted from the horse. "You don't spend your days running around like other people," the old man remarked to Mario. "But when someone is in need, you're always there." "You're very kind," Mario replied. He mentioned that being this way wasn't difficult for him. He emphasized the importance of taking care of oneself, eating well, and not worrying too much. "Today, you truly helped me," the old man expressed his gratitude. "Therefore, I would like to give you a gift from God." Mario was puzzled and said, "A gift from God? I don't understand." The old man proceeded to explain that when God bestows a gift upon someone, only that person can keep it. He invited Mario to follow him. Mario followed the old man as they climbed up the hill. Upon reaching a certain spot, the old man stopped and pointed to a large rock. He informed Mario that beneath that rock were some leaves. Underneath the leaves, there were chests. And within those chests, the gift from God awaited him. Mario approached the rock, knelt beside it, and effortlessly lifted it with his hands. He then moved the leaves aside and discovered 6 wooden chests. Carefully, he opened one of the chests and found it filled with hundreds of silver coins. Curiosity led him to open the second and the third chest, only to find that all 6 chests were brimming with silver coins. Feeling grateful, Mario turned to express his thanks to the old man, but to his surprise, the old man had vanished. Mario decided to take a handful of the coins and place them in his pocket. Afterwards, he closed all 6 chests, covered them with leaves, and carefully restored the rock to its original position. Feeling weary from all the exertion, Mario found solace under a nearby tree and drifted off to sleep. When Mario woke up, he felt hunger gnawing at his stomach. He recalled the events involving the horse, the old man, and the silver coins. He questioned whether it was all real or merely a dream. He contemplated this to himself. However, something more pressing came to his mind: lunch. With a sense of urgency, Mario hastened down the hill toward his house. Suddenly, he heard a jingling sound. He reached into his pocket and discovered the 6 silver coins. There they were, tangible evidence of his extraordinary encounter. Later that evening, Mario's wife returned to the shop. She placed the silver coins into Pedro's hand, exchanging them for their value. "My husband sent you these," Mario's wife informed Pedro, handing over the silver coins. "We need rice, chicken, tortillas, tomatoes, and coffee." Pedro was taken aback as he beheld the substantial sum of money in his hand. He couldn't comprehend how Mario had acquired such wealth. How did Mario obtain so much money? Pedro inquired. "Come to our house tomorrow morning after 11, Mario's wife replied. "He will explain everything." The next morning, Pedro visited Mario's house to hear the story. Although he had doubts about its authenticity, Pedro exclaimed, "Why didn't you bring all those chests home with you?" Mario explained that the chests were too heavy, and he lacked the means to transport them since he didn't own any horses. "My friend," Mario replied, "how many times have I told you? If God wants to give, He will give. And when He gives, He will provide through unexpected means." Understanding Mario's perspective, Pedro offered, "I have some horses. Let's go to your place together." "My horses will carry all 6 chests," Pedro proposed. "You can keep 3 of them, and give the other 3 to me. We will become rich together. Do you agree?" "All right," Mario agreed happily, knowing that his wife was preparing a delicious chicken for dinner. Pedro returned to his shop, but he couldn't help but entertain a different thought. "Why should I share the silver with Mario?" he pondered. "The horses belong to me. Without them, Mario is helpless, and he won't know what to do with the money. He'll simply eat and sleep as usual. However, I always know how to make the most of my money. I will construct a larger house." That night, at 11 o'clock, Mario was fast asleep. His wife woke him up, saying, "Husband, it's already 11 o'clock, and your friend hasn't arrived yet." "He's just late." Mario dismissed his wife's concerns and went back to sleep. An hour later, his wife woke him up once again. "Husband, it's midnight," she said anxiously. "I'm afraid Pedro has decided to keep all the silver for himself. It's too late to go anywhere now." "Wife, go to sleep," Mario reassured her. Following their conversation, Mario and his wife slept through the night without waking up again. Meanwhile, while Mario was peacefully sleeping, Pedro went up the hill with his horses and his men. He instructed his men to move the rock and uncover the hidden chests beneath the leaves. However, to Pedro's dismay, when the chests were opened, they contained no silver coins but were instead filled with dirt and stones. Frustrated and feeling mocked by Mario, Pedro shouted in anger. Determined to play his own prank, Pedro ordered his men to load the chests onto the horses and transport them down the hill, leaving the dirt and stones in front of Mario's house. They carried out the plan and returned home. The next morning, Mario's wife woke up but discovered that they couldn't open the door or windows due to something blocking them. "Husband, wake up," she called out. "There's something outside our house, and we can't open the door or the windows." Mario, still sleepy, tried pushing the door but to no avail. He managed to open a crack in the window, and suddenly, numerous silver coins spilt into the room. "Husband," his wife exclaimed, "Pedro did come last night, perhaps." Mario replied, chuckling, "But all this commotion has made me hungry. What about a nice tortilla?" Later that morning, the shopkeeper's mouth dropped open for the second time in 2 days. Mario's wife entered the shop and purchased more food and new clothes for both herself and Mario, thanks to the newfound wealth of silver coins. She placed 20 silver coins on the counter in front of the shopkeeper. Confused, the shopkeeper inquired about what had happened. "Yesterday, we waited for you until midnight," she explained. "I was worried when you didn't show up. Then this morning, all the silver coins came through the window. But it seems you gave us more than half." Pedro, feeling cornered, swiftly responded, "It wasn't me." "Of course, it was. Who else would leave all those silver coins outside our house?" An awkward silence filled the air, and then Pedro spoke quietly, "Your husband always says that if God wants to give, he'll give, and when he gives, he'll push it in through the window."